Hello guys, you're welcome to another HTML and CSS tutorial with Flourish Field Academy. And today we're going to be styling our travel agency webpage. So far, we've been able to create a folder, add a few images, and also we've been able to add our links in our last lesson, but currently it still looks far away from what we expect. As you can see, this is how the arrangement and the look of the navigation is like. And to achieve this, we would need the help of CSS. And we created our CSS file in our last lesson, and also we're able to link it to our HTML so that whenever we write styling instructions in this CSS file, it's easily being picked up by the HTML. So now we're going to write a few styling instructions. Firstly, if we take a close look, you'd see that the background of our landing page is not exactly white. It actually has an image. That image we already have downloaded in our first lesson, and that image is called the core. This is the image. This is what the image looks like. Okay, I think it says yeah. This is what the image looks like. So as you can see from our Figma, we need to make that image our background. And to do that, we would need to learn a whole lot of very interesting CSS. Now, first, the body is what holds the entire web page, everything. Any web page you build in HTML, the entirety of that website is built and held within the body tag. So that means if we create background for the body, we would inevitably have created a background for our entire page. It's just that this background is not a color. Instead, it's an image. So to do that, we'll go to our CSS and we need to target the body. Since we want to make background for the body, we need to target the body. Now CSS, every CSS code is divided into three parts. The selector, in this case, is going to be the body, after which we must have parentheses like this. So this is referred to as a selector. It helps you select the element, the HTML element, in which you want to apply styles or that you would be writing here. Now, this is the first part of CSS. The second is the property. Now, what do you want to change? For me, it's the background. Not background color, but background. Now, background color only provides color for our background. But in this case, we want an image. So I'm just going to go with background. Of course, you could use background image. The image is contained inside of the assets folder. So I'll need a URL. And in this URL, I'll go to assets and try to get the core.png. That's the name of my background. Now, once done, let's take a look at what our web page should look like now. As you can see, the background has been added and you can clearly see it taking shape. Good. Next, I think we need to change the layout of this. If you look at our Figma, we have the logo on the left while the other links on the right hand side. But for us, it currently is the logo on the top and the links at the bottom. So we would need to change that. And to do that, again, let's pay a very short attention to our HTML. As you can see, we have nav covering the entire thing. So the entire navigation section from logo to the last part of the link is contained inside of nav. So this nav tag is going to be very important in helping us separate the logo from the links. To do that, I'll go, and remember, we need a selector, property, and value. And this time, the selector would be nav, because I want to do some things to the nav. And in the nav, I'm going to write my display. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm writing display. The reason is because the default display for HTML is block. The default display for HTML is block. And that's why whenever I add elements, you see them appear one on top of the other. So if I do not want my elements or anything on my page appearing one on top of the other, it means I'd have to change the display from block to something else. So that's why I'm doing this. And the moment I change the display to flex, I love this, you can see that they no longer appear one on top of the other anymore. Now they are side by side, but still some way off this. We still need to apply some spaces in between these elements. Now, to apply those spaces in between the elements, we would need another style. Still inside the nav, I'm going to say justify content, which means justify the content of the nav space between. Now, this is going to create a space between the two contents of the nav. Remember, earlier on I explained why we needed a div. In fact, because we use the UL, we can even take out the div, because the UL still helps us group. You can take out the div. Now, although by inspection, it seems as if we have more than two elements, but because of this grouping, this is a group and this is a singular element, HTML sees it as just two entries contained inside of the nav, one image and one group of links. So if I call justify content space between, it tries to create a space between the image and the rest group of links. Now let's see the result of what we have done so far. As you can see, this is the logo and it's created a space between the logo and the links. Now let's try to change some things about the links. First, we need to take out this bullet points. And these bullet points are called list styles. To do that, let's take a look. We'll need to call the lists. So I'm going to say li, and this time I'm going to say list style, which is what I want, and I'm going to say none. List style none helps me take care of those bullet points. They are no longer there. Now next, we need to take care of the underlines and of course the color of the text. Now, for the underlines, those are coming because we have a link. As you can see, we have an A tag inside of the li tag, and this A tag is called an anchor tag. It is used to create links in HTML. So I'm going to go over and now I'm going to try to style those links. I would say text, decoration. I don't want to see those underlines. I would say none. And I'm going to say color. I want the color to be black. Color simply means text color. And now let's take a look at what we have. There we go. Now we no longer have those underlines and the text color is now black, just as we have it here. But we still need to align this properly, and also we still need to make sure that the logo is small enough, because currently our logo is too large. So next, we need to make sure that all the list items are properly aligned in one line, are all on one line. To do that, we'll look for the tag containing all the list items, and that's the UL tag. So on the UL tag now, I'm going to need to call display flex, just like we did earlier. Remember, earlier we had the logo and all the text one underneath the other, and we said it was because HTML is block scoped. That's the reason why. So right now, we're going to do something to the display of just this part to make sure that they no longer appear one on top of the other, rather they appear side by side. And to do that, I'll go to my style sheets. I'm going to try to style my unordered list, and I'm going to say display. My display would be flex, and just that alone helps us out a whole lot. But we still need a bit of space in between. So to create space, I'm going to go to the anchor tags, the links. I'm going to create spaces in between the links. And to do that, I'm going to say padding. Now, padding tries to add spaces around the text. Up, down, left, and right. I want 10 pixels of space. And let's see what we have now. Looking really, really, really good. One more thing, I believe we still need to reduce the size of our logo. And our logo is called IMG in our HTML. So let's try to reduce the size of our logo by saying IMG, which is a selector. And I'm going to say width. I'm going to try to reduce the width to say 200 pixels. Now I could also reduce the height, but the moment I reduce the width, it automatically tries to adjust itself. Now, as you can see, we currently have very similar looking navigations, except for the font. Font is the style of text. As you can see, this is basic styled text. But then the style of text we have on our screen here is not the same. So we would need to also change the fonts. So in our next video, I will be showing you how to change fonts using Google Fonts. See you in our next video.